It's 5 and 10 from Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert with 5 things you need to know for this Monday, August 26th, 2024. Item number 5 today, Israel. Early Sunday morning, Israel launched strikes, a preemptive strike against more than 40 Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon. About 100 Israeli warplanes taking place. They destroyed over 6,000 missiles and drones, according to the IDF. This targeted missile launchers that had been prepared for a strike against Israel, central Israel. The strike, according to Israeli intelligence, was scheduled to launch around 5 a.m., so about half an hour before the scheduled launch. The Israeli attack destroyed a number of these. The targets included areas in the Tel Aviv area. This according to the New York Times, and the New York Times citing a Western intelligence official. It's not clear if it was Mossad or the CIA, NSA, or which Western intelligence agency might have helped Israel with this strike, but it apparently kept Hezbollah missiles away from the heavily populated city of Tel Aviv. Since October 8th, Hezbollah has launched more than 6,700 rockets, missiles, and armed drones at Israel. We in the West just sort of read this, oh, it fell in an open area, started a fire, 1 or 2 people hurt, no big deal. I doubt we would feel the same way if, say, a Mexican narco cartel were launching 6,000 missiles in less than a year across the Texas border into, say, El Paso, Brownsville, and other southern Texas cities. According to Lebanese media affiliated with Hezbollah, they still managed to launch about 320 drones and missiles during the attack, so just a small percentage of what was apparently prepared to be launched against the United States. Flights at Ben Gurion Airport were suspended for a while early Sunday morning. There was while it was going on, there were some questions as to whether one of the military, so-called military targets Hezbollah was trying to hit was Ben Gurion Airport. Incoming flights were diverted to Eilat, the Ramon Airport in the southern tip of Israel. Outbound travel paused during the attack. A number of foreign airlines, including Air France, Aegean, and Wizz Air, which were still serving Israel despite major carriers like United and American suspending flights to Israel, still serving Ben Gurion. They have scrapped all their flights to and from Israel, or did so on Sunday. Again, there's still air service going into and out of Ben Gurion, but it's severely restricted from what it would be during normal times. By the way, Sharon and I are planning another solidarity mission to Israel, November 6th through 13th. I'll tell you more about that before the end of this program. Topic number 4, Hamas. The leader of Hamas now, Yahya Sinwar, is still eluding Israeli forces. They came close to him back last October. They found a room where he'd been staying. His coffee was still hot, so he is out and about. There's a report in the news media this morning that according to some Western intelligence sources, he may be living in plain sight now dressed as a woman. A bit humiliating. If true, this may just be a bit of disinformation put out there to try to draw Sinwar into the open. But anyway, Israeli media reported, citing Egyptian officials, that Sinwar is open to a ceasefire deal, but only if he receives guarantees of personal safety. In other words, despite the public proclamations by Hamas that we love death the way you love life, when it comes to Sinwar, that really only applies to everyone else in Hamas and not him. Topic number 3, Trump and Kennedy. As we told you Friday afternoon in a special update, Donald Trump, Robert F. Kennedy, turned the 2024 presidential election upside down. Maybe that's going too far, but it certainly is another interesting development in what has already become one of the strangest presidential elections in American history. Because Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, facing off against a Democratic nominee who did not receive a single vote in the primaries. She ran in 2020, dropped out before the first primary because she was polling at about 3%. Up until the time she was officially anointed, she was being publicly described by corporate media outlets as the worst and least popular vice president in American history. And so the media makeover has been absolutely astonishing over the last month or so. Anyway, as you know, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. suspended his presidential campaign Friday, endorsed Donald Trump for president. This is a move that was not popular among Kennedy's family, including his own wife. Very liberal. Kennedy's siblings and relatives issued a statement about half an hour after his statement on Friday afternoon, after his speech, disowning him, basically, saying that he has desecrated the memory of his father and uncle. I would say the Democratic Party has moved quite a ways away from the Democratic Party of 60 years ago. My father was an old-time Democrat in Chicago, but when he got to the 90s and saw where the Democratic Party had headed, he flipped. And this is true. This is why the southern states, which used to be reliably Democratic, now vote Republican for the most part. The Democratic Party has gone full-on socialist. And of course, the Republicans have moved pretty far left too, which is why there are no fans of Donald Trump. Anyway, there were stark differences between the speech that Kennedy gave Friday afternoon, and I'm not exaggerating to say it was one of the most substantial in terms of putting forward policy positions. One of the most substantial political speeches I've heard in my lifetime, and the speeches that we heard from the Democratic Convention in Chicago last week, which was basically Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Then Kennedy came forward talking about our children and the epic numbers of chronic disease afflicting our children because of the poisons in their food and medicines. The never-ending wars that the neocons in Washington, D.C. have committed the United States to, and especially the pointless war in Ukraine. Quite a difference between the two, and if Trump and Kennedy and J.D. Vance, who kind of overshadowed by Kennedy, to be quite honest, can move America in that direction and actually get Americans loving our children more than we hate each other, as Kennedy said, it will be a step for the good. Now, as Christians, just remember, we will not achieve salvation for ourselves, our family members, or our nation at the ballot box. Do vote. Participate in the process, especially at the local level. But let's not get too caught up in what this all means. Now, one other interesting thing, at his rally Friday evening, where President Trump introduced Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to his supporters to rousing applause, standing ovation, he announced 2 projects that he would task Kennedy with in a future Trump administration. Number 1 is a presidential commission on assassination attempts, reviewing and releasing documents, the remaining documents in the assassinations of the late President John F. Kennedy, and also to investigate the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania last month. Pray for Kennedy's protection. His Secret Service detail has been withdrawn now that he's suspended his presidential campaign. Topic number 2, BRICS. The BRICS nations continue adding new members. They're going to need a new name. This was originally made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Earlier this year, after not adding any new members for 13 years, they welcomed Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Actually, that was last August. In February of this year, South Africa's foreign minister said there are 30 other nations asking to join, specifically 2 of note, Malaysia and Thailand, both making it clear they want to become part of BRICS. Before its expansion last year, the 5 countries in the BRICS nations already accounted for about 40% of the world's population, about a quarter of global GDP. By adding the UAE and Saudi Arabia, BRICS now encompasses about half of the world's oil supply, and between Iran and Russia, a big chunk of the world's natural gas supply as well. Why are the BRICS nations gathering together? Why are so many other nations apparently interested in joining? They see it as a hedge against the United States' use of the dollar, its status as the world's de facto reserve currency, economic dictatorship, economic hegemony. The world not happy that the United States is using the dollar as a weapon, and BRICS is expanding as a result. Coming up, giving the term buried in debt a new meaning. That's next on 5 and 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can easily and conveniently stream this incredible new film, Void Earth Cataclysm Before Genesis, right now at skywatchtv.com/stream or on the mobile app for immediate access. However, if you'd like to receive your own hard copy on DVD, Skywatch TV is proud to announce the Void Earth Ultra Collection. When you order this exclusive collection from the Skywatch TV store, you'll receive the brand new documentary from Defender Investigative Films, Void Earth, Cataclysm Before Genesis, along with Dr. Thomas Horn and Reverend Donna Howell's best-selling book, Before Genesis, The Unauthorized History of Tohu, Bohu, and the Chaos Dragon in the Land Before Time. These powerful works present astounding revelations like no other, taken directly from the Word of God, the conclusion to the events of Genesis that merges all contributing voices from not only the young and old creationist groups, but the scientific community as well into one balanced and agreeable climax. They reveal precisely how ancient archaeological sites like Göbekli Tepe and the Doorway of the Serpent point irrefutably to an intelligent race of beings here on Earth thriving before the time of Adam and under Lucifer's fallen dominion. They pull back the veil on exactly what the Earth was like during the without form and void era of Genesis 1-2, and so much more, featuring Dr. Michael Lake, Derek Gilbert, Reverend Donna Howell, Gary Stearman, and the late Dr. Thomas Horn in what would become his last documentary appearance ever. But that's not all. You'll also receive 315, The Genesis of All Prophecy by the legendary Rabbi Eric Walker. This prophetic, convicting, and heart-rending book exposes anti-Semitism as Satan's plan to eliminate the Jews and the catastrophic consequences the world will face if this agenda succeeds. Sold separately, all of these items hold a retail value of $75. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. So don't delay. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. You can also visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Void Earth Ultra Collection now.
Item number one today, buried in debt, just a phrase or a literal thing? Well, apparently in San Antonio, Texas, if you're a resident of the lodge at Chavano Park, that apartment complex will hound you into the afterlife for unpaid rent. According to the apartment complex, 91-year-old Sanda Bonilla was past due in her rent. She owed them $14,368 in unpaid rent plus $1,117 for breaking her lease. And they sent the bill to the next of kin because Mrs. Bonilla had died. That's why she broke the lease. And yes, the apartment complex did know it because on the bill, it stated the reason for breaking the lease as deceased. They knew she had died and they pursued the family members for the unpaid rent. Now, Texas Property Code says that a deceased person's estate can avoid liability for future rent with two steps: remove all property from the property, all personal property from the dwelling, and provide a written notice of termination. After the notice of death is received, the landlord only gets another 30 days. The lodge at Chavano Park trying to pursue Mrs. Bonilla into the afterlife. The family saying, good luck with that. Well, this week on Skywatch TV, Donna Howell previews her new program, The Donna Howell Show, available from Skywatch TV. You can find it at our Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV channels, also on our app. And we'll tell you how to get that in just a moment. Also, bringing back the program Return to Eden about health and nutrition. This brought to you by Skywatch TV's Eden's Essentials. I take some of those supplements and I can vouch. Especially the one for men of a certain age, if you know what I'm talking about. You know, the prostate begins giving you trouble. Yeah, it works. The prostate support. Anyway, the Donna Howell Show and Return to Eden. The discussion this week on Skywatch TV. Watch the program right now at our website, skywatchtv.com. Over the air, skywatchtv.com/channels is where you'll find our broadcast schedule. You can also catch it right now at Roku or Apple TV. Over the internet, we're at skywatchtv.com/@skywatchtelevision or rumble.com/skywatchtv, or better yet, get our app. All of our video content comes right there. Whether you've got iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire phone or tablet, we have links to their app stores as well as to Roku and so on at skywatchtv.com/app. In November, Sharon and I returning to Israel, God willing. Obviously, what happens in the next few weeks we'll be watching very closely. But we are planning a solidarity mission, a one-week trip, November 6th through 13th, a small group, maybe a dozen people. If you're interested, check our website, gilberthouse.org/travel, gilberthouse.org/travel. We'll visit sites that were attacked last October. We'll visit with wounded IDF soldiers, go to Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, and, of course, visit all of the important sites in Jerusalem, the Mount of Olives, City of David, and the Temple Mount. Again, latest information always, gilberthouse.org/travel. Follow 5 in 10 online. We're at YouTube at 5 in 10, on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.